Are you curious what's going on in the local Almaden Valley market of San Jose, California? Well, stay tuned because we're going to dig into the data and talk about what's really happening in the market. Hi, I'm Theresa Wellman with homeownerexperience.com, a local San Jose, California realtor. And I love to empower my clients with real data so they can make the wisest decision for themselves. So let's dig right into the computer and look at those charts.
Okay, here we are with an overview of the data from May 2020. It is data from May 1st through May 31st. And reminder, this data is trailing in that those closed sales and numbers are indicative of sales that actually happened in April. So don't get too weary about this. I will talk about some leading indicators to give you an idea of what's going on with the market as well. So if we compared May to April, the average price was actually down 2%, and the number of sales was drastically down at 51% below the previous month. So today, Almaden is considered a soft seller's market, and that is looking at the closed sales versus the actual inventory and the rate of sales. So the days of inventory is up to 67 days. So all single-family homes at the current rate of closed sales would close in 67 days. But the market is heating up. This is a indicator that's coming forward, and looking ahead is pending sales. Pending sales are up 112% from the previous month. Wow. And while inventory was only up 11%. So I would expect, even though May, the closed sales list price was just over 100%, I would expect the closed sales in June to be much more than that, because you saw pending sales were way up and inventory wasn't up that much. So that demand really heated up for what was on the market. So currently there's 54% of the single family homes in contract, and last month it was only 38. So it was definitely an improvement because of those pending sales increases. So let's take a look at the chart here that captures Almaden Valley from 2015 forward. If you look at the legend here, you see what the different colored lines mean, but this is the same graph that I share every month. And May closed sales, which is this green bar, were very low, which is why we saw that big decrease of 51%. But this dotted blue line of pending sales is way up. So that is actually a really healthy number, better than we've seen all in 2020, and almost better than what we saw in any month of 2019. Subtracting, I guess, 1, 2, 3 months were a little bit higher than this number. So really good sales activity happening in Almaden, and so that definitely means we're going to have probably another good month or two, and definitely likely to see some price recovery with this up and down prices that we've had. So these yellow bars that I've highlighted here are bringing to your attention 2018, 2019, and 2020 April and May months. So typically in April and May we would see an increase in sales. Sometimes we don't see an increase in inventory, but typically we do. 2018 was a strange year. So 2019 was more of a traditional year where you see a big increase in inventory in that time of year. But it is not uncommon to have either April or May lower sales in Almaden. Typically that's related to spring break travels, etc. That really kind of act as a transition, and then the market picks back up. So we did have very low sales in May. Like I said, is not uncommon, but as you can tell, relatively it is very low. This was almost winter number of sales that we had. So it's nice and promising that those pending sale numbers are much higher, and going to show some recovery next month. So one other important perspective is year over year. So I've talked about month to month, and sometimes that's just a microsite, and it doesn't really matter unless you're selling and sitting on the market and wondering what's happening. But you know, if you've been in your house for several years, you are more worried about the perspective of how long you've been there, or maybe the general direction of the market. So if we look over year, I'm going to say the prices have been pretty flat. You see that the median was actually slightly up and the average slightly down. And we talked about this number of sales was also really low this year compared to what it would be typically. And so 2018 sorry, 2019 was very similar to last month's sales that we had, or April sales that we had in Almaden. So the pending numbers were pretty good, also about the same as we would had last year, just slightly bit higher. So anyway, sales price to list ratio was also very consistent. So a lot of these indicators are pointing out that we have a healthy market. And you note here that we're actually 40% less inventory than 2019. And you saw that in the yellow line when I showed you the chart. So anyway, the outlook for Almaden is really positive. I think we're going to have a late market this year rather than having a peak in May. We're going to see maybe a June or July peak, and maybe even a little bit later than that inventory peak, just due to shelter in place delaying a lot of sellers' plans. But you know, buyers are going to be out there in force this summer because some of those buyers are wanting to get into their property before school starts. So if you are considering selling, the sooner the better. If you have any further questions, do reach out to me. I also want to welcome you to sign up for this or the San Jose Market Update. You can go to bit.ly/RE Market San Jose. I'll put the link below. And if you're considering getting your house for the market, please do look into downloading my 10 tips to improve your curb appeal. That is one thing that is really extremely important today to buyers, and you want to do what you can to maximize that before you go on the market. And if you'd like to see the raw data or my San Jose market video, I will put links to those below as well. Thank you so much for watching.